Good afternoon or good morning, football fans. Big Al here on the final Sunday of the 2024 NFL regular season. It is Sunday, January 5th, 2025, and this is the last injury report of the 2024 regular season as we have 14 games to look at, including that massive winner-take-all game in the NFC North between the Vikings and Lions later tonight. Alright, so with that said, like, comment, and subscribe to my channel, ring the bell, and get notified every time I go live, and let's jump into the Week 18 injury report, and we'll start off with the Jacksonville Jaguars at the Indianapolis Colts. And there's only two names for both teams. For the Jaguars, tackle Walker Little is out with an ankle, and linebacker Ventrell Miller is questionable with an ankle as well. Meanwhile, for the Colts, cornerback Julius Brents is questionable with a knee, and quarterback Anthony Richardson is out with a back injury, which means we'll be seeing Joe Flacco under center this afternoon. On to the Chicago Bears at the Green Bay Packers, and we'll start with the Bears. Safety Elijah Hicks with an ankle and a foot, running back Travis Homer with a hamstring, and guard Tevin Jenkins with a calf are all listed as questionable for the Bears. For the Packers, cornerback Jair Alexander sitting out yet again with a knee injury. Safety Zane Anderson also out with a concussion. Defensive end Brenton Cox Jr. is questionable with a foot. Tackle Andre Dillard is out with a concussion. Wide receiver Romeo Doubs is questionable with an illness. Linebacker Quay Walker is out with an ankle. Wide receiver Christian Watson is questionable with a knee. And safety Evan Williams is out with a quadricep. Next, the Buffalo Bills at the New England Patriots. And there are only two names for the Bills to talk about. They are linebacker Terrell Bernard out with a quadricep, and wide receiver Curtis Samuel questionable with a rib. Longer list for New England though. We'll start off with safety Ben Brown. He's out with a concussion. Safety Kyle Duggar is questionable with an ankle and a quadricep. Cornerback Christian Gonzalez is out with a concussion. Tight end Hunter Henry is questionable with a foot. Linebacker Anthony Jennings with a knee. Defensive end Titus Leo with an ankle. And quarterback Drake May with a right hand are all listed as questionable. Safety Jabril Peppers with a hamstring. And wide receiver Jalen Polk with a shoulder are both out. And linebacker Sion Taki is questionable with a knee. Alright. Next up, the Carolina Panthers at the Atlanta Falcons, and we'll begin with the Carolina Panthers. Linebacker Amari Barno is out with a shoulder. Cornerback J.C. Horn is out with a hip. Guard Robert Hunt is questionable with a knee. Linebacker Josie Jewell is out with a concussion. Safety Lonnie Johnson also out with a shoulder and a neck. Wide receiver Xavier Legette is questionable with a hip and a wrist. Tackle Taylor Moton is questionable with a knee, but it's not injury related. He's getting rest. Meanwhile, defensive end A'Shawn Robinson with a neck and running back Miles Sanders with an ankle are both questionable. And for the Atlanta Falcons, linebacker J.D. Bertrand is questionable with an eye. Defensive end Brandon Dorius is questionable with an abdomen. And wide receiver Darnell Mooney listed as questionable with a shoulder, but he will not play today. On to the Washington Commanders at the Dallas Cowboys, and we'll start with Washington. Safety Tyler Biadasz is doubtful with an ankle. Running back Austin Eckler is questionable with a concussion, but he will play this afternoon. Cornerback Marshawn Lattimore is out with a hamstring. Tackle Cornelius Lucas is doubtful with a groin. Linebacker Jordan McGee is out with a hamstring. Wide receiver KJ Osborne is questionable with an illness. Long snapper Tyler Ott is questionable for a personal matter. And safety Tyler Owens is out with an ankle. And it looks like the Dallas Cowboys are going into this game relatively healthy. And I think Trey Lance will be starting for Dallas in place of Cooper Rush. Moving on to the Houston Texans at the Tennessee Titans. We'll start with the Texans. Defensive end Nico Autry is out with a knee. Defensive tackle Foley Fatukasi is out with an ankle. Linebacker Christian Harris is questionable with an ankle. Linebacker Jamal Hill is questionable with a hamstring. While guard Shaq Mason with a knee and cornerback Jeff Okudah with a concussion are both out. And we have a number of players for the Tennessee Titans, and most of them are out today, including wide receiver Tyler Boyd with a foot, wide receiver Colton Dowell with a knee, tackle Jalen Duncan with a shoulder, kicker Nick Folk with an abdomen, safety Amani Hooker with a shoulder, linebacker Arden Key with a hand injury, linebacker Otis Reese with an ankle, and running back Tajay Spears with a concussion. They are all out today. Meanwhile, tight end Chig Okonkwo with an ankle, or rather an abdomen, and running back Tony Pollard with an ankle are both listed as questionable. Moving to the New Orleans Saints and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, we'll start with the Saints. Quarterback Derek Carr is out with a left hand. Linebacker Willie Gay Jr. is questionable with a shoulder. Tight end Juwan Johnson is questionable with a knee. Running back Alvin Kamara is doubtful with a groin. Running back Kendry Miller is out with a concussion. Meanwhile, wide receiver Chris Olave, head injury. Defensive end Peyton Turner, ankle. And linebacker Pete Werner, concussion, are all questionable. And for the Buccaneers, you've got cornerback Jamil Dean out with a knee. Defensive end William Golston, questionable with a knee. Tight end Cade Otton, doubtful with a knee. Wide receiver Sterling Shepard, questionable with a hamstring. And safety Antoine Winfield Jr. out with a knee. And those are your Buccaneers injuries. Now to the New York Giants at the Philadelphia Eagles. We'll begin with the Giants. They have 5 players listed, including linebacker Micah McFadden with a neck, tackle Evan Neal with a rib and a hip, center John Michael Schmitz with an ankle, cornerback Greg Stroman with a shin, and defensive tackle Armon Watts with a knee. All 5 of those players for the Giants are out. Meanwhile, it's a laundry list for the Philadelphia Eagles. We'll start off with running back Saquon Barkley. He is doubtful today, coach's decision, so he will not break Eric Dickerson's all-time rushing record. Sad to report. Also doubtful due to a coach's decision are linebacker Zach Bond, wide receiver A.J. Brown, defensive tackle Jalen Carter, linebacker Nakobe Dean, although Brown has a knee injury and Dean has an abdomen injury, they are doubtful. Guard Landon Dickinson is doubtful, coach's decision. Tackle Lane Johnson, doubtful, coach's decision. Likewise with tackle Jordan Mailata. cornerback Darius Slay, and wide receiver Devontae Smith. Outside of those names, you've got quarterback Jalen Hurts, who is out with a concussion and a left finger. He is still in concussion protocol, but he is doing a lot better, and he may be on pace to start next week's wild card game. Couple other names to talk about. Jalen's backup quarterback Kenny Pickett is questionable with ribs, but it looks like he will not start in this game. It will be our third stringer Tanner McKee instead. And running back Will Shipley is questionable with a concussion. On to the late game, starting off with the Seattle Seahawks at the Los Angeles Rams. And we'll start with Seattle. Cornerback Josh Jobe is out with a knee. Tackle Abraham Lucas is out with an abdomen. Defensive tackle Byron Murphy II is questionable with a back. Fellow defensive tackle Brandon Peel is out with an illness. And for LA, guard Kevin Dotson is doubtful today due to a coach's decision. Likewise with tackle Alaric Jackson. Wide receivers Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua. Nacua is doubtful for another reason not listed. Also doubtful because of a coach's decision are quarterback Matthew Stafford and running back Kyren Williams. So we will be seeing Jimmy Garoppolo as the starter for the Rams this afternoon. Next, the Miami Dolphins at the New York Jets. We'll start with the Dolphins. Tackle Terrion Armstead with a knee. Defensive end Calais Campbell with a neck. Wide receiver D. Eskridge with a finger. Wide receiver Tyreek Hill with a wrist and an illness. Sorry. Safety Javon Howard with a wrist. And wide receiver Jalen Waddle with a knee are all questionable, but it looks like Hill is expected to play this afternoon. Meanwhile, quarterback Tua Tagovailoa is doubtful with a hip. If the Dolphins do make the playoffs, Tua says he would play no matter what next week. And linebacker Anthony Walker is out with a knee injury. For the Jets, tight end Tyler Conklin is questionable with a calf. Defensive tackle Leki Fotu is doubtful with a knee. Cornerback Sauce Gardner out today with a hamstring. Tackle Morgan Moses is questionable with a knee. Guard Elijah Vera Tucker is questionable with an ankle. And defensive tackle Quentin Williams is questionable with a hamstring. Up next, the San Francisco 49ers at the Arizona Cardinals. For the 49ers, defensive end Robert Bill Jr. is out with an ankle. Safety Jair Brown is questionable with an ankle. Guard Spencer Buford is out, and linebacker Demetrius Flanagan Fowles is doubtful. Both have calf injuries. Tight end George Kittle is questionable with an ankle and a hamstring. Cornerback Denomador Lenore is out with a shoulder. Tackle Colvin McKivitz is questionable with a knee. Quarterback Brock Purdy with a right elbow, and wide receiver Deebo Samuel with ribs and a wrist are both out. And cornerback Isaac Yiadom is questionable with a pelvis injury. For the Cardinals, tackle Jackson Barton is questionable with an ankle. Cornerback Sean Murphy Bunting is questionable with a toe. Linebacker Victor Demichele is questionable with an eye injury. Kicker Matt Prater is out with a left knee. Linebacker Mac Wilson with an ankle and a quadricep, and wide receiver Michael Wilson with a hamstring are both questionable for the Cardinals. Moving on to the Los Angeles Chargers at the Las Vegas Raiders. We'll begin with LA. Running back Gus Edwards is out with an ankle. Safety Aloy Gilman is questionable with a hamstring. Wide receiver Josh Palmer is out with a foot. And linebacker Denzel Perryman is doubtful with a groin. And for the Raiders, not a lot to talk about here. Running back Amir Abdullah is out with a foot. Cornerback Nate Hobbs is questionable with an illness. And guard Jordan Meredith is questionable with an ankle. Next up, the Kansas City Chiefs at the Denver Broncos. And it's a long list of names for the Chiefs. The following players are doubtful because of a coaching decision by Andy Reid. Those players include running back Kareem Hunt, defensive tackle Chris Jones, who has a calf injury, defensive end George Karlaftis, tight end Travis Kelce, quarterback Patrick Mahomes with an ankle, cornerback Trent McDuffie with a knee, safety Justin Reed, and linebacker Drew Tranquill. All are doubtful due to a coaching decision by Andy Reid. Hey, it's Joey and Anna, my folks from Bakersfield. How y'all doing? Good morning to y'all. Other names on Kansas City's injury report include linebacker Nick Bolton. He's doubtful for another reason outside of a coaching decision. Wide receiver Mecole Hardman is out with a knee. Going down the list, you have running back Isaiah Pacheco. He has a rib injury. He's out today. Tackle Jawan Taylor is out with a knee. And cornerback Jalen Watson is out with an ankle. And not a lot to talk about for the Denver Broncos. They only have running back Tyler Beatty, questionable with a back, and tackle Frank Crum out with an illness. And now to the big game later tonight between the Minnesota Vikings and the Detroit Lions. As we wrap things up, we'll start with the Vikings. Linebacker Kemu Grigor-Hill is questionable with an illness. Defensive end Patrick Jones II, he's out tonight with a knee. And cornerback Fabian Moreau is questionable with a hip. So the Vikings are virtually healthy at this point. And for the Lions, linebacker Alex Anzalone is questionable with a forearm that's had him sidelined the last 6 weeks. But it looks like he'll be able to play tonight. Same can't be said for running back David Montgomery with a knee and cornerback Emmanuel Mosley with an illness, both out tonight. Meanwhile, wide receiver Khalif Raymond with a foot and running back Craig Reynolds with a back injury are both questionable. Okay, folks, that is a look at the Week 18 NFL injury report, as we are now about, 24 minutes from kickoff of the 8 early games that will be taking place starting at the top of the hour. I'll be working a lot tonight to get into my Week 18 edition of the week that was, which will drop tomorrow at about 2 p.m. Eastern Time, so make sure you join me for that. In the meantime, like, comment, and subscribe to my channel, ring the bell, and get notified every time I go live. Big Al signing off. Thanks for watching, and enjoy the pigskin. Oh, and Happy New Year to Check MP and Anna. Peace out. 17.